Hello, and welcome to the Movie Universe. I'm your host, Movie Fan. Today, my friend Jonathan the Reviewer and I are doing a very special Let's Talk. This particular video was proposed by Jonathan, so I'm going to let him take the wheel. Take it away, Jonathan.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan the Reviewer from Jay's Watch, and once again, Movie Fan, it's really good to be with you in your channel of the Movie Universe. So today, in honor of the late Peter Salles who passed away 2 months ago, we're going to talk about the most iconic duo in history of Britain, or in fact the world, Wallace and Gromit. Created by Nick Park, who is also one of the members of Aardman Company in London, Wallace and Gromit became one of the best iconic duos right next to Batman and Robin. They appeared in 4 shorts and 1 animated film. But for now, let's first get into the shorts. Start with A Grand Day Out, which happens to be a graduation project by Nick Park. When Wallace and Gromit were thinking of a vacation, and because they were all out of cheese, they realized that all they had to do is rocket to the moon to get some cheese while having a vacation. Of course, they also met a robot cook in the moon. The rest of it is going to be really good, but we're not going to spoil it, along with the rest of the shorts. When it was released in 1989, it became a major hit on Christmas Eve in Channel 4, and was nominated for an Oscar for Best Animated Short, but lost to Creature Comforts, which is also created by Nick Park, and also won an Oscar. Well, on the bright side, it got his first Oscar by Nick Park. In 1993, they made another Wallace and Gromit short, due to the success of A Grand Day Out, The Wrong Trousers. When Wallace and Gromit are having their bad day with their rent, they decide to make an empty room so they can have a guest so he can pay for their rent. And they found a guest, which happens to be Feathers McGraw, the penguin. But what they didn't know is that this penguin happens to be a criminal mastermind. Instead of being a 20-minute short, they want to make like some sort of a movie. And instead of making fantasy, they make it suspense. And of course, this penguin is something like Alfred Hitchcock should have done, which this short happens to be some sort of a anime Alfred Hitchcock-esque.
I would also like to point out that in this picture, it doesn't only just have that Alfred Hitchcock approach, it also has great action in it. Probably the best action would be the famous chase scene where they're chasing that penguin all through the house, and most of the time they're on a toy electric train. It's really something to watch, definitely a must-see. I crack up every time I see it, just watching Gromit try to quickly lay down the tracks really fast so he can try and keep up with the train. It's priceless.
When it was released in 1993, it became one of the best shorts ever, and it became a phenomenal short that is based on the duo. And is the first Wallace and Gromit to have their first Oscar, and totally it deserved it. After their success of The Wrong Trousers, in 1995, they made A Close Shave. And they have more characters, more action, more suspense, and even more interesting villain. This time, a dog. When Wallace and Gromit happened to be window washers, Wallace met a female, which happens to be Gwendolyn, the daughter of an inventor who passed away. News is still on the case about that sheep rustler. And turns out, Gromit knew that it was Preston, Gwendolyn's dog all along, who has been strangling and wrestling sheep in order to turn them into dog meat. And, of course, spoiler alert, this Preston dog happens to be a cyborg created by her dad. When it was released in 1995, it became one of the best shorts ever, and like The Wrong Trousers, it got another Oscar for Best Animated Short. But that's not all. It also introduced to another one of the most iconic Aardman characters ever, Shaun the Sheep. That ever since in 2007, a TV show of Shaun the Sheep was made, and in 2015, Shaun the Sheep has his first movie. Right next to Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep became iconic. In 2005, after they made Chicken Run in 1999, which I will review soon, and they have that knowledge of how to do an animated film from DreamWorks, Nick Park finally get to make their own Wallace and Gromit film in The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. When Wallace and Gromit became exterminators of rabbits during the countdown of the vegetable competition, where we meet also two other main characters, the greedy and evil Victor Cordemet, played by Voldemort, and Ramesses from the Prince of Egypt himself, Ray Fiennes, and Lady Tonnington, played by Helena Bonham Carter, who used to be Tim Burns' wife, and while at the same time, she also appeared the same time as Emily in Tim Burns' Corpse Bride, which I will review soon also. Wallace and Gromit had an idea that what if Wallace can reverse the DNA and the brains of the rabbits, instead of eating vegetables, they should refuse eating vegetables. And then some kind of an accident when it turned out to be a success, which I'm not going to spoil it, but you have to see for yourself once you see the film. It turns out, later in the film, Wallace and Gromit turned out to found the case. And then Gromit realized that Wallace is the were-rabbit all along. Now the rest, I'm not going to let it spoil it, but all I can say is that the finale is intense. When it was released in 2005, the same year as Howl's Moving Castle by Hayao Miyazaki and Tim Burns' Corpse Bride, it became a best hit of 2005. And it got another Oscar, this time for Best Animated Feature. Of course, it totally deserved it. What do you think, movie fan?
Oh, I agree. This movie totally deserved it because I'll tell you this, doing claymation, or as I prefer to call it, stop motion animation, because technically that's what it really is not an easy thing to do. And to do a whole feature film on this, it's even harder. And of course, it definitely has points for originality, because I'll tell you, this is one of the most original features I've ever come across. I've never seen anything like it before, and I doubt I ever will again. So yeah, it totally deserved it.
In 2008, years after the release of The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, they made another short of Wallace and Gromit, and that is The Matter of Loaf and Death. After being exterminators, Wallace and Gromit became bakers. And after 12 bakers has been murdered by a serial killer, the police are on the case still, which even that we don't see the police in the short film. And while delivering, Wallace met Pila Bakra, who happens to be the Bakelite girl, or should I say, used to be the Bakelite girl in the commercials, and been starting to fall in love with her. And after a few romance, and when Gromit entered the house after leaving the purse of hers in Wallace's house, he realized that something fishy going on with Pila. And it turns out she happens to be the serial killer of those other 12 bakers. And it's up to Gromit to stop her from killing the last one, which is Wallace. And to my... Oh, I forgot to tell you that also I'm not going to spoil it as well, because like The Wrong Trousers and A Close Shave, it's suspenseful, including like The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Which, speaking of Close Shave, this short film kind of reminds me of A Close Shave. While Pila reminds me of Preston, her dog Fluffles, the poodle, reminds me of Gwendolyn. And when it was released in 2008, it became a hit and was nominated for an Oscar, but lost to another short film. What is the short film called, movie fan?
It was Logorama that they lost to. For those of you who don't know, Logorama is a 16-minute French film that is basically, as the name implies, logos. You literally see all types of famous logos everywhere in this movie. They're all alive, well, give or take a few of them. Like, you got the Michelin Man, you got the Pringles logo, the red and yellow M&Ms, and that's pretty much the gist of it. They're just logos living day-to-day lives.
Thank you. Also, not only Wallace and Gromit became iconic in short films and one animated film, they also appear in Cracking Contraptions, which you will find it You can find it in the YouTube. It's on YouTube, and you can watch it anytime, like I have. I've seen cracking contraptions every time on YouTube, and every invention Wallace made gives me a laugh. From success to did not do very well. Everything I love from Wallace and Gromit is spectacular. And Wallace and Gromit became most iconic. What do you think, movie fan?
I think they became very iconic, especially when you count that theme song, because it's got that British feel about it with a little slight twist. You'd have to hear it in order to understand what I'm talking about, but just like the show, it's one of a kind, and that's what I think separates this from various other shows and dynamic duos, as you put it. I mean, we all know Batman and Robin, we all know Laurel and Hardy, and we certainly know Abbott and Costello because of their unique styles. But for Wallace and Gromit, this has a style that is completely original, definitely all its own.
Unfortunately, since the matter of Loaf and death, nobody has ever made any Wallace and Gromit anymore. And then until tragedy happened, and I'm not sure if they're ever going to make more Wallace and Gromit short or films after this. Because 2 months ago, in 2017, Peter Sellers, the voice of Wallace, had tragically passed away in the age of 96. It's really a shame that right next to John Hurt, Adam West, and other celebrities that we love, especially recently Martin Landau, he's really the best Wallace that we will always remember. So before I go, I would say thank you, Peter Sellers. Thank you for bringing and giving the best voice of Wallace that we will always remember and never forget. You will always be Wallace in our hearts. Rest in peace, Peter.
Yeah, no doubt he will be the best, and he will certainly be missed. Because I'll tell you this, when you get that right person for the part, there is no one who could ever replace them. I want to thank my friend Jonathan for proposing this idea, and I hope to do more with him in the future. This is Movie Fan, signing off.
I'm Jonathan the Reviewer, and I would love to thank Movie Fan for joining me on this video. If you like this review, click the like button below, and if you like this video, subscribe, and be sure to join me and check it out on my YouTube channel. In the meantime, I'm Jonathan the Reviewer, this is Jay from Jay's Watch, and I will see you next time.